Hello from Oslo. Some comments about searching for a PhD job, maybe internationally. Before I was sharing my own experience, but now I found the interesting discussion in the Facebook. There is a group called Reviewer 2 Must Be Stopped. I think this group is useful because people discuss typically in a polite way, and they discuss a lot of important research questions, not just how to evaluate paper manuscript, but also how to prepare manuscript, how to find the PhD jobs, other scientific jobs, many relevant questions. So I recommend just from my own experience, not a commercial, just free comment. Anyway, so in this group there was a question. A person says that has a couple of years of experience and education in publishing industry and teaching experience and 6 months as a coaching and has a publication, and the person wants to find a PhD abroad, well, abroad for his or her country, preferably USA, Canada, or Europe. A person has a TOEFL and GRE, and question is apply how can a person apply for a PhD position. So the question is very broad, of course. So that's why the discussion is relatively long, and I see that many people don't want to comment because it's not the main idea of a group. But also, question is too hard in reality because or too broad. So there was a one comment. If a person not in a hurry, maybe can consider Australia because it's a relatively okay place to do PhD and research in general. And probably now, due to COVID, the situation for foreigners, international students, is a bit hard. But in general, it's a good place for some people's opinion. So also some commented that PhD time sort of limited and shorter in Australia compared to other places. It can be very difficult in some universities, meaning that there is not much time left for life because very intensive study and research. But also there is comment, it depends on the place, because in Australia there are a few universities, few cities. A comment number 2 was a useful website called Find a PhD. So just suggesting this website, Find a PhD, and some people commented they could find a job based on this website. Then there was a question which has a controversial comments. At first I like the answer a lot, but then I realized that also a little bit mean answer. So the comment was that figuring out how to apply is something a potential PhD candidate should be able to do themselves. So start by identifying potential supervisor. It's a good idea. First, I like this answer because it just simplify all my discussions, and I don't need to comment ever again. When people tell me how to find a PhD position, I will just say, okay, you are future doctor of philosophy, and this is your task, figure out. But then I remember myself when I was looking for a PhD position, I was reading in some forums and looking information in the internet and asked some people. So I did some search, and there were also comments like this that trying to protect whoever asks questions, that writing this post is already a first step. A person is looking for a PhD and asking a relevant audience. Then identifying programs that you are interested in using a website, and generally link application system. But different programs require different things. So depending on which program you go, they can request different documents. There was also experience from the US university. The comment is that find the common areas of interest with a potential professor. They hired student who just wrote them and got in touch and was motivated and interested about the topic, and they had a similar experience. So TOEFL and GRE, they were secondary, not that important. What was important is that a person was motivated and matched well with a research laboratory. Next comment was before jumping to PhD, develop ability to search independently and get information that you need. And then try to narrow a question also, because, well, this question about PhD in Europe, USA, Canada is kind of broad, right? So if a question was more specific, it maybe was easier to answer. Research skills include asking advice from people who have the relevant expertise, which what is done here by asking questions to a Facebook group which combines many researchers. So the first thing, you need to search and find out the groups whom you want to work with. Well, research groups in the universities, right? And then you try to reach alumni or public groups like this and ask specific questions. And then people will be more than happy to help. The more specific questions, the easier to answer. And at least this is experience from European countries. Then the next suggestion was in Germany to try the website DAAD, DAAD, because there are some research opportunities there. In the Netherlands, there was a suggestion to use website EUR-Access, EUR-Access. Next suggestion also in Netherlands was to try academictransfer.com. I never use it, but well, look like a relevant website. Next comment was a start with grants and funded positions. Yes, this is correct. The best way is to find the advertisement of a job, which will be a PhD position by itself, a PhD candidate position like it is in Norway. And if this position already covered with a grant and funded, then it is just a simple job application. Simple, well, some people say that there is a big competition, and this is true, but well, it is a job application. So for UK, for example, advice is to use website jobs.ak.uk, jobs.ac.uk. Okay, reading here. Next comment was spamming a CV is a bad idea, but sending a CV to specifically people that you interested in their research, this is a good idea. So if you send a CV and application very random, it's a waste of your time and waste of people's time. But if you see a few groups which you are interested, talking to them directly, it's advisable. Getting funding might be hard anywhere, but often this is on PI. Yeah, correct. So professors, group leaders, they get grants and then they hire a PhD candidate in many cases. Of course, there are also programs when students apply directly and the program covers everything, but most typical way that I observed is to be funded by a grant that professor has and work on a project that professor has. Okay, there are some tips in this Facebook group. Again, I advise to join if you are interested in discussions about research It's called the reviewer 2 must be stopped.